There's a strange mystery unfolding out in deep space right now, and it's got scientists losing sleep. The name of this cosmic oddball? 3IATLAS. But just because we've named it doesn't mean we actually understand it. This thing is bizarre. It looks strange, moves strange, and it's made of stuff that's got experts completely baffled. And get this, after years of studying it, there's growing talk that it might have been watching us the whole time. Recently, a group of astrophotographers in the remote deserts of Namibia, way down on the southern tip of Africa, aimed their cameras at the skies during a total lunar eclipse. The Earth's shadow blocked out the moonlight, creating one of the darkest skies imaginable, a perfect window into space. Out there, they could have chosen to photograph anything, but they locked their lenses on 3IATLAS. What they captured left them speechless. Right there in the pitch-black heavens, the object was glowing bright green. Yes, green. And here's the wild part. There's no solid natural reason for it to look like that. Based on everything we know, 3IATLAS shouldn't be glowing that color at all. Scientists believe it's an interstellar comet, meaning it's from outside our solar system, kind of like other comets we've seen, with a glowing cloud of gas and dust around it, called a coma, and a long fan-shaped tail. But this eerie green light, that's something completely new, and no one can explain it yet. This comet isn't just any visitor from space. It's a total outsider, coming from a completely different star system somewhere deep in the galaxy. So, yeah, we expected it to be a little weird. But 3IATLAS keeps crossing the line from weird to downright unexplainable. Every time scientists think they figured it out, it does something that makes absolutely no sense. Now here's where things get even crazier. Normally, when a comet turns green, that's no big deal. We actually know what causes that glow. It happens when sunlight hits carbon molecules in the comet's coma, specifically something called diatomic carbon, or C2, two carbon atoms bonded together. When ultraviolet light from the sun blasts those molecules, they emit a bright green light. Easy chemistry, right? But here's the problem. 3IATLAS doesn't have any of that stuff. Over the summer, telescopes all around the world and in space zeroed in on this thing. The results? No C2, no typical carbon chains at all. Yet, somehow it's still glowing green like a cosmic neon sign. What's up with that? Nobody knows. Could it be aliens? Maybe they've got a thing for green lights. Even stranger, the coma around 3IATLAS is loaded with CO2, that's carbon dioxide, carbon mixed with oxygen, and that's a totally different compound from C2. It can make the comet really bright, sure, but it doesn't make it glow green. Plus, the sheer amount of CO2 is wild. It's way higher than the water vapor levels, which is completely backwards from what we see in normal comets. And that's not all. Scientists also found metal, especially nickel, floating in the coma. That's something we usually see only when a comet gets super close to the sun, close enough for the heat to literally vaporize metal. But 3IATLAS is doing it way too far out in space for that to make sense. What in the world is going on with this thing? 3IATLAS isn't even close to the sun right now, not even a little. Yet, scientists first detected nickel coming off it way out between Mars and Jupiter. That's way too cold for any normal comet to start leaking metal like that. So what's going on here? There's just no logical reason for it to be spewing out so much nickel, unless you start entertaining one wild possibility. That 3IATLAS isn't a comet at all, but maybe some kind of alien spacecraft. After all, rocket engines are often built from nickel-rich metal alloys. When rocket engines burn, they blast out exhaust loaded with nickel and tons of CO2. Sound familiar? Now, let's be real. This probably isn't aliens firing thrusters out there, but something about 3IATLAS just doesn't add up. The really bizarre part isn't just what it's made of, it's how it moves. Ever since it was first spotted back in early May, right up until now in October, its trajectory and speed have barely changed at all. Not faster, not slower, not drifting off course. It's been flying steady like it's locked on autopilot. That might sound normal, but for a comet, that's straight up weird. Here's why. When comets get closer to the sun, the heat causes them to sublimate. That means the icy surface turns directly into gas without melting first. This constant release of gas acts like little thrusters, nudging the comet around in space. The result, their paths and speeds change all the time. Astronomers even have a name for this, non-gravitational acceleration, or NGA. Now, based on all the activity we've seen, the outgassing, the mini-tail forming toward the sun, and the longer one now stretching away, 3IATLAS should be bouncing around a lot more than it is. But instead, its velocity and direction only shift by about 1.5 kilometers of NGA per day. To put that in perspective, another interstellar visitor, 2I Borisov, which behaved much more like a normal comet, fluctuated by over 100 kilometers per day. That's 100 times more motion than Atlas. Whatever this thing is, it's moving with eerie precision, like it knows exactly where it's going. One possible explanation is that 3IATLAS is just so massive that it's harder to push around. That would make sense, right? But let's check that theory against another heavyweight, the legendary Hale-Bopp. This was one of the biggest comets ever discovered in our solar system, at least as large as 3IATLAS, maybe even bigger. And yet Hale-Bopp shifted its path by an average of over 10 kilometers of NGA per day, about 10 times more movement than Atlas. And then there's Oumuamua, the first interstellar object we ever spotted. At some points, it was changing direction by more than 1,000 kilometers per day. So even when compared to other interstellar wanderers, 3IATLAS is acting way out of the ordinary. Its course is holding steady with such eerie precision that you could almost say it's intentional, like something's actually guiding it through the solar system. Sure, there's probably a natural explanation for all this. But if, and that's a big if, 3IATLAS is some kind of ship, then not only can it hold a perfect course, it could also theoretically change course whenever it wants. Right now, astronomers expect it will swing to the opposite side of the Sun from Earth as it moves through the inner solar system. That means no close-up views and no chance for it to see us, unless it slows itself down as it passes the Sun and somehow ends up waiting for us on the other side. Here's where it gets even crazier. There's a theory floating around that might actually fit this whole mystery. Ever heard of the WOW signal? Back in 1977, a team of astronomers at Ohio State University were using a giant listening device called the Big Ear Radio Telescope, basically a massive ear tuned to catch strange sounds from space. On one unforgettable day, it picked up something so bizarre that the researcher monitoring the printout simply scrawled "WOW" in the margin. And that's how this mystery got its name, the WOW signal. What blew their minds was a shockingly powerful, narrow-band radio signal that lasted for a full 72 seconds and came from deep space. It wasn't coming from any of our own technology, it wasn't the Sun, and it wasn't any planet in our solar system. All we know for sure is that it originated from the general direction of the constellation Sagittarius. The first thing that stands out about the WOW signal is the staggering amount of energy it would have taken to send it across interstellar space. If it was aliens, they'd have to be so advanced they could harness the power of an entire star. And if it was some natural event, it must have been triggered by extreme conditions inside a star itself. Either way, this wasn't ordinary cosmic noise. The second striking detail? Hydrogen. It's the most common atom in the universe, and it creates a special radio frequency known as the hydrogen line. This signal appears at 1,420 megahertz. And guess what the frequency of the WOW signal was? Exactly 1,420 megahertz. If you wanted to send a universal hello across the galaxy in a way any advanced civilization would instantly recognize, that's the frequency you'd use. Here's where things start to connect in a seriously eerie way. Astronomers have long debated the origin point of the WOW signal, but recently some have noticed that its source region, that area near Sagittarius, lines up strikingly close to the current trajectory of 3IATLAS. Coincidence? Maybe, or maybe not. The idea floating around is that the signal could have been sent from an object now moving through our solar system, something that's been traveling toward us for decades. If that sounds wild, consider this. 3IATLAS didn't just appear randomly. Its exact path looks almost like it was aimed straight through the solar system, passing near several key observation points, as if it wanted to be seen. And remember, its movement has been unnervingly smooth. Too stable, too perfect, like it's following a programmed route. Some theorists suggest that if the WOW signal was truly a message, it might not have been a one-time transmission. What if it was a beacon, a sort of cosmic ping marking the arrival of something that would eventually pass by our part of the galaxy? And now, all these years later, that something might just be glowing bright green out there between the planets, calmly cruising through space like it's on schedule. Whether it's pure science, coincidence, or something else entirely, the timing between that mysterious 1977 signal and the arrival of 3IATLAS has got everyone's attention. Even scientists who laugh off alien theories can't ignore how 3IATLAS keeps breaking the rules. Its chemistry doesn't add up, its motion defies physics, and its light show looks almost designed. When you combine that with the wow signal's eerie connection, you start to wonder, what if we've been looking at this all wrong? Imagine if this wasn't a natural comet at all, but something more. Something that's been camouflaged as a comet. The green glow could be more than just gases. Maybe it's energy discharge, or even a signal being emitted. We've already seen it releasing nickel-rich material, a lot like exhaust, and maintaining a flight path with near-perfect precision. That's not just strange, that's surgical. Some experts have pointed out that the region where 3IATLAS first appeared matches up with an old area of radiostatic that's been confusing deep space telescopes for years. Could that have been another ping from this same object? It's the kind of mystery that keeps scientists awake at night. And honestly, it's hard to blame them. Every image, every reading, every data point only raises more questions. What is this thing made of? Who or what launched it? And most importantly, why is it here now? In the 5 decades since that one incredible moment, no other radio signal has ever looked anything like the wow signal, not even close. And here's where things get seriously wild. Astronomers have reverse-engineered the path of 3IATLAS, and it appears to come from the same general direction in space as the constellation Sagittarius. Yes, the exact same area linked to the wow signal. That's a huge coincidence. Or maybe not. Some scientists are now whispering about a radical idea. What if the wow signal wasn't from some far-off star at all? What if it came from our current visitor, 3IATLAS, which back in 1977 would have been way out on the edges of our solar system, far beyond Pluto's orbit? Maybe it wasn't just drifting. Maybe it was giving us a heads up it was on the way. Of course, this is still just a theory. Nothing proven, nothing confirmed. But the fact that it hasn't been proven false either, that's the detail that keeps everyone staring at the skies. Mysterious objects like this one force us to keep an open mind about the universe and its endless possibilities. If you're as fascinated by this story as we are, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and drop a comment below, because the truth might just be out there, and it's headed right in our direction.